There's your cue, Meredith.
There's our cue. We're live and we're raging. Hold on 1 second. We'll be right back after our intro. Welcome, everybody. This is a special early episode of Raging with Rich Perrotta. This is episode 13. I love the number 13. Rich, do you love the number 13?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to drop the card here so everybody can see your face live. Hi, Rich.
Hi.
Oh,
You want to like
in person?
I'm going to put you up in the space of
top.
honor. There, you're up on top, baby. You're up on top.
Woo!
You had
I dig it.
You had a successful crowdfund for the Incantesi. I've got that right back there in my background. You see that? A place of honor, the hardcover. Loved it. And I saw a sneak peek of some art and some scripts. And I cannot wait until chapter 2. So tell us a little bit about the Incantesi and chapter 2 and where you are with that.
And well, he could introduce himself.
After you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Rich. There, I did it. Introduce myself. Yeah. So you all should know about me already because I'm just who I am. But yeah, actually no.
He's all that. He's all that, folks.
I'm all that and a bag of chips that are like filled with air and like have like virtually no chips on the bottom or anything. No, seriously, my name's Rich Perrotta. I am a comic book artist and have been for quite some time. I started at my first professional art job, don't ask me how this happened, was Marvel Comics, and that was in 1994. Yes, I'm older than I look. Worked there for about a good 10 years, working on every single title that they had to offer. Best time of my life. Then I stopped for a bit, worked for DC Comics for a couple, and in 2013, I entered the indie circuit, and I haven't left since, and I've loved every minute of it. And in 2020, I decided to do some self-publishing. And that's where the first issue of the Incantesi came about.
Mm-hmm. I want to hear about the Incantesi because, in the storyline there's a ballerina in there. It's just like, hey, you look like a rough and tumble guy. What the hell with the ballerina? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, the inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the rough and tumble guy. The rough and tumble guy is exactly the type of character that I would write, a rough and tumble guy. And I didn't want to do that just yet. I didn't really want to do that because interesting story how this came about. I was I was still living in New York City, and I was just drawing, and I befriended an actress from Italy. Her name is Sofia Brocani, and she was watching my live streams, and she decides to message me, and she goes, "Rich, is there any way you could draw me as a superhero?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." And we talked about it, and she's like, "Can you make me like I'm a magician or something, like I'm a sorcerer?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure, that's great." But for some reason that appealed to me quite a bit, and I just decided to draw it out, and I put in detail on this costume that I did not thought that I would ever actually be able to do, but it's one of the best commissions I ever did. So anyway, I put it aside because, she lives in Italy. I live in New York City, and it's like $50, $60 just to send it overseas. It was ridiculous. So I was like, I'll wait until I have extra money. Let me do that first. So anyway, a couple months down the road, I decided I want to do some self-publishing. I decided, what, I'm gonna do my own book, whatever. I went back and I looked over all the characters that I had when I was a kid and when I was in my 20s and the 30s, and I realized, what, these all suck. So now what am I going to do? So then I'm looking on the table, my drafting table, and I'm perusing through all the pages that I have. And her commission was there. And it was like a bolt from the blue. I I saw the whole story in my head in less than 5 seconds, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is awesome!" And the first thing that I did was I contacted Sophia because I wanted her blessing. Her look was perfect for the hero. Her look is perfect for the character. So I was like, Sophia, is there any way that I can use your likeness? She's like, absolutely. And I'm like, that's great. I started writing the thing. It took me a while. And then I drew the thing. That took me a longer while too, because I was like a little bit funny with the scheduling and all that. And in February 2021, I launched a Kickstarter. It made its predetermined goal in about 6 days. And it was rather successful, but it was too successful at that point for me because it's like now people want to see the second issue rather quick. So here I am. I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't know how I'm going to do this in 3 months, but I'm close to it. I'm close to it. I paced myself. I've done what I needed to do. Out of the 60 pages that I'm doing this one, I have 52 pages finished. As far as like line art is concerned, I have the cover. It's fully colored. As a matter of fact, I'm going to send that to you. Let me see if I could send it to you. One moment. But I'm going to send this to you, Meredith, okay? Okay. Then she nods approvingly. Thank you. I am happy. You guys can hear me, can you?
Yes, you're good. You're
okay,
good.
All right. I thought it was like silent for a minute there. Okay. All right. So I've just sent
Yeah,
you
my AC is on because it's ridiculously hot and humid here in Florida, and it just sounds like so I'm trying to put myself on mute as much as possible.
They don't have air conditioning in the United Kingdom because it's always fucking cold. It's always cold in the UK. But anyway, I just sent you the cover to issue 2. It's fully rendered, fully penciled, inked, and colored, and all of that's me. Don't ask me how I knew how to color. I just do, for the most part. Anyway, so yeah, if you decide you want to show it, that would be great. And yeah, this has become a labor of love, and I chose a ballerina. Or I chose. I mean, the concept of a ballerina, with the movement of her hands and stuff like that, weaving spells, that just fell into place. So I was like, okay, I'll do it this way. And I chose this type of character because it's a character that I've never ever conceived myself drawing before. And I wanted to really invest myself into this. And what better way to invest myself in this than do something or write a character or draw a character that I've never written or drawn before? It's a challenge. Are you guys there?
Oh yeah,
Hello.
we're just listening.
Oh, okay,
You have the
because it's
floor.
like the signal went out.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay, all right. But yes, that's essentially what it was. And so far so good. Because it's forced me to explore different nuances of a character. It's forced me to explore storytelling. It's forced me to explore everything with a little bit more detail than just to put something together like, oh yeah, my character's like the most OP character ever. He's going to destroy everything then and that. Something stupid like that. I don't begrudge anybody who does a comic book similar to that, but I like to think with the experience that I've had, the ladies are just enamored by your looks. Well, all right, thanks. Hey, thanks, Mike. And
Struck silent by the rich Perotta.
I doubt that. I severely doubt that. I'm about as handsome as a paper bag. But anyway, but seriously though, it's like it helped me explore new ways of storytelling, and I've gotten a lot of really good accolades from everybody who's read it as a result of me being more in depth into what the story is supposed to be. It forced me to look at something that I never looked at before, and that really truly reignited any type of feelings I wanted for storytelling. So yeah, that's why she's a ballerina, and that's why she does magic.
I think it's kind of beautiful, and it works. The dance moves and the spell casting, I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. It's fun stuff. It really is, and it gets it gets nastier. It gets nastier and it gets a little bit more violent as the series progresses and everything. I did show you guys like the art for issue 2 and some of the plot for issue 3. Eek.
Well, you know what, Rich? One of the things that that really brought your chapter 1, like the thing that I think appreciate most beyond the storytelling, because the storytelling is really good, and we're just getting a taste of the story arc, right? Is how you're drawing these characters. There's a certain amount of reality. Now, don't get me wrong. I love characters and they look great. But you see a little bit of like the women curves, the right ones and the wrong ones. You see
of course.
the way you're drawing the shirt and the details and stuff like that, where there's a certain amount of reality.
Yeah, it's
and
real.
so it is real, and it just brings you in. Like, I can relate to this character. Hell, I could probably be this character. And so I appreciate that aspect of it. In addition to the storytelling, I think it's really, really cool that you've done that, because, a lot of people, they were like, well, comic books, it's like, it's supposed to be amusement. It's supposed to be fun and stuff like that. But I mean, I personally love the dark storytelling. I love, I love horror. I love the fantasy. So I mean, those elements are already there, where it's not smacking me in the face of reality, but those elements, it just complements it, and it brings you in just enough that you can appreciate it and go, oh yeah, I can relate to this world that you're creating.
Well, it's not some. I mean, I'm trying to create I mean, it's fantasy. It's a comic book. It's a graphic novel. It falls within a comic book type of like setting. But the thing is that the one thing I wanted to do is just be accurate with as many things as I possibly could. And I mean, that includes the figures, the people that are in there. It's not. I didn't want to make them highly exaggerated or any type of like really super gestural in such a way that it's not realistic for a human body to bend like that. I mean, it's like the 40 worst drawings of like an artist from like the early 90s who shall remain nameless. The majority of the women there, they look like they had some really terrible reverse osteoporosis or spina bifida, but they still have the usage of their legs. It's like, and just the way that storytelling is supposed to go, there's supposed to be a pace to it, and you're supposed to have other elements around it the character's supposed to interact with the environment and vice versa. And in some stuff that I've seen, it's some of it's lacking. And I wanted to make sure that I knew what the hell I was doing, to be honest with you, because if I chose a different type of path, after a while it would just become exploitative, or just redundant. It's like it would just be yet another stupid superhero comic in the vast cosmos of stuff that you see out there. And I want to use a much more colorful term, but I'm going to be as gentle as possible. But it's the truth though. It's just like, I'm sorry. It's that there has to be a little bit of realism in the stories that you're telling. You can have the fantasy and the reality in there, and you can marry it, and you can have it perfectly put together.
Well, so I downloaded the cover of chapter 2 here, and I kind of added a little bit of flair so that we could fill up the page here. Chapter 2, gorgeous cover. There's an interior piece and your sexy black and white image there.
Thank you. I love it.
Yeah, it's cute.
I love it. That's her first uniform reveal.
Mm-hmm. Very
that's
nice.
When you see her in full regalia, it's like, boom, that's who she looks like.
And I cannot wait until we see this in color also. But another thing that you did, I'm just going to flash this up really quickly, was You did our little dude.
They're so awesome and adorable, and we love it.
And
Oh my
and they're
God.
all like floating with the orbs and the energy spheres and things
Yes.
like that. Love
Yes,
it,
I
love
love
it.
it.
That was just so much fun. You and Mike Jimmy
you.
are our favorites.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mike
absolutely.
did that first. I will give credit to Mike Jimmy first. He did that first, and I was like, man, that looks awesome. I hope
Yeah,
I hope
we're
I'm
gonna
not
flash it up
insulting
here real
anybody.
quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mike
he
Yeah.
had
stuff is
the
good. Yeah,
snorkeling encore.
yeah,
That was pretty awesome. So that
snorkeling
was
for,
fun.
yeah, it's great stuff. It was I wanted to join in on the fun.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. The dudes are fun. Nita gave them names.
It's
what are
Juju,
their names? I don't even know what their names are.
Juju and MJ.
Okay.
That's Little Gidry and Meredith Jr.
Oh Jesus Christ.
But you
I
can't
know,
say
it's terrible.
Meredith Jr. You have to say Meredith Jr.
Meredith.
Meredith Jr.
So, from
Oh, we've got people who are
what was
tuning
it?
in here. Thank you very much. Mike Jimmy is here. Yay! Life on Core. We have a launch party coming up for him, and we
Yay.
have a little bump. We have Mike James Bengston. Too many mics in this room. What the hell, you guys? We've got Pops Van Zant. We've got Nina. Yay! We're doing a closing party for her too. Thank you for tuning in. Facebook user. State yourself. Are you friend or foe? Let us know. We've got Black Rose Comics tuning in from YouTube. That's awesome. Speaking of
Hello,
YouTube, make
Black
sure
Rose
you get
Comics.
over there and hit the subscribe button because we are just trying to. Well, Nita posted something about that today. You know, we're trying to grow our network because across multiple platforms, and the faster we can grow, like if you wanted to post something and we share it out to our network, it's just that exponential growth, right? It'd be nice to have a follow back, you guys, you know. So hit the button, hit the subscribe button.
The further our reach, the further
like and
yours.
subscribe to this
That's
That's
right.
right. It doesn't. It's just a click of a button. It's really
That's
not
it.
that hard. So
Yeah,
Black
and you
Rose
should watch
Comics
these
is
two
here.
lovely ladies.
Joe
Who's
D.
there?
McPhee is tuning in. We've got Joshua Pantaleresco from Just Josh, and he's here. This is very, very
Yes,
sexy.
yeah.
That cover is very sexy, by the
Yes,
way.
it is.
Yeah,
Unless he was
thank you.
talking about you, Rich. Could have been
No,
talking about you.
no.
Either way.
Either way.
No, no,
So
no.
and Mike Jimmy says it's the invasion of the mics. Oh my god.
Wow, that means two things. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Wow.
But yeah, so we've got quite a few people who are tuning in right now. Make sure that you share this out to your
Good.
social media as
Good,
well, because
please.
we have some really good interviews lined up through June as
Plenty
well.
of them.
Yeah, but Rich, I wanted to ask you something.
Please.
The pros and cons of working for the big two and independent publishing.
What do you want? The pros?
The
of,
pros and cons.
The cons. Okay. The pros.
I know it's very broad, so wherever you take it, we're good.
Yeah, I
with.
know this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
The pros. All right. Well, it's just about every kid's dream, you know. And anybody who ever picks up a pencil and decides to draw a superhero or something like that.
Well, yeah, you put it on your resume, and it's just like, oh, this guy drew for Marvel and DC. It's like, holy shit, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's not so much that. I mean, you don't really think that when you're like 13, 14 years old, and you create your first crappy superhero, and you think you're going to do anything in Marvel. You know, you hope to God you draw for Marvel or something, and you hope you want to do comic books, and then, you know, when you get it, it's an entirely different thing because it actually happened. You know, and the pros are really its own aspiration, getting there, and it's just, you know, being within the office, the house of ideas, you know, the house that Stan Lee built, kind of. You know, I mean, Jack Kirby did most of it, in my opinion. And no disrespect to Stan Lee, but still, you know. And it's like you see all the people, and you meet the people whose names you see in the credits. You know, like the artists or the editors. You know, it's just so amazing, and you see what it's like to work in a big studio like that. I mean, when I worked there, the bullpen was vast. It took up a whole floor, which was just ridiculous. And it was just absolutely wonderful. I was able to go up to the offices pretty much whenever I wanted to. I mean, I was on staff for about a year and a half doing art corrections, on a lot of the pages and everything. So it was like, it was amazing. It really was truly amazing. I can't really say that there's a bad thing about it. The only thing that I could say that's a con for that is that's, the nature of the business. You're a freelance artist, you're contracted for an X amount of whatever it might be, or you may do a piecemeal work and then that's it. It's like you have to constantly hustle, constantly show your portfolio, or try and get yourself onto an extended series or a regular series or even a limited series, because that builds on your resume and your reputation throughout, all the offices up at Marvel. I got to say a story. This happened. I was working for one editorial house, and I just picked up some pages for me to ink Iron Man, so something along those lines. Now I'm walking out of the office and I'm walking towards the exit, and there's one office like maybe 20, 30 feet away from the exit. Another editor comes out. This truth to power. He comes out. He's like, "Does anybody know Rich Perotta's phone number?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I'm right here, bro." He's like, "Oh, great, you're there. Come on, I need your help." And it's like, I'm like, "Oh, okay then." It's like, I mean, I was only going to go over there to pick up like maybe 5 pages of artwork at the time, and then I come back with like 20. Wow. So but yeah, it's like the other con is the deadlines, because a lot of times, a lot of stuff gets out late. I'm not even too sure what the procedure is now, but I'm certain that I can't say I'm certain. I'm not sure if the inconsistency is still there, but if it is, then eek, because there's always lateness on the books. There was always lateness on the books. And I don't fault the editors for this at all. I mean, and also I can't really fault anybody else for it, because, it is human nature. Sometimes you just miss whatever the hell it is, or sometimes you're just effing lazy. I mean, the work just doesn't come in, and then you have to really bust your ass to try and finish it up. It's like, sometimes it's not pleasant, because you do have to stay up all night, and you do have to pull an all-nighter, and you go without sleep, and then you have to have the pages in by like noon or 5 p.m. to make sure that they go to whatever artist it is, and sometimes that could be a pain, and I had to do that with DC Comics too for a couple of years. It was the DC. I went to the offices like maybe twice before they moved to Burbank, and I had something of a connection with it, but not really much. I worked there for 2 years. The people I worked with were good enough, they were nice enough, and that's that on that. And what I love about the indie comic industry is just about everything, because you see, when I had to like draw stuff for like Marvel or DC or whatever, you have to do it with the house style. You have to do it with like what it is and everything. And
Right.
Forgive me, how many times can you draw Spider-Man swinging through the damn buildings of New York City? It's like, I think every conceivable angle has been done one way or the other, unless they have one that's like right up his orifice, or another one that's from space. It's like, all right, yay, Spider-Man, yay, great hero, yeah. But he's swinging through. Wow, he's swinging a web through buildings. I never saw that before. It's just like, all right, whatever. It's just so repetitive. After a while, it's just, yeah, he did.
Well, I do want to ask something about that, though, because,
yes,
okay,
yes.
So, you said that you've been in the bullpen, you were helping to fix some of the art. How many times can you do Spider-Man swim through through the city and all that stuff? Mm-hmm. And then, working on your independent stuff, has it ever crossed your mind, like, is this my own style, or like, where is my style going to come from? Where is the inspiration? Whereas, I've said it often enough where there are really no unique ideas. It's how you present them. Each individual has a certain style, has a certain way of doing things, and that's what makes it unique. But when it comes to art, if you've been doing something repetitively over time and stuff like that, it feels like yours, even though it's not. So when it comes time to develop something like the Incantessi with the characters that you have in there, did you ever go, is this
Guys?
unique enough? Is, there's that little bit of that imposter syndrome happening.
Hey.
Oh, I don't know if he can hear us. Can you hear us,
there?
Rich?
Yes. Are you? Can you hear
Hello?
Oh no. Rich. Private chat here. Hold on a second. We're
I wonder
having
if this is
technical
me.
difficulties. Technical
Are you guys there?
difficulties. We can hear
Yeah, I saw
you,
that.
but you cannot hear us.
My style of art. Okay, I'll wait.
Mm-hmm. Rich, can you hear us? Okay.
Okay.
Refresh. Refresh. And come back in. I wonder, is he seeing the private messages, you think?
Are you guys there?
Nita, you're on mute now.
Yeah, of course.
This always happens whenever I'm on.
Yeah.
Any podcast I go on, it always happens.
We love you, Rich. It's okay. You know what? I'm going to message him on Facebook. Hold on a second. Refresh and come back in. In the meantime,
What up?
there, he's refreshing. In the meantime, guess what? We're going to play a little bump.
Okay.
Then here we go. That's right, you guys. We are hosting a lunch party for Life Encore with Mike Jimmy, and that is June 11th at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. We're right here on the RAGIN channel. Make sure that you tune in. We're going to have some fun stuff. We're going to do some fun stuff. We're going to sit with Mike Jimmy. And, you see, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, you see the little dudes there. That is going to be available for the first day on is it Kickstarter? No, it's Indiegogo.
Indiegogo, Meredith.
It is Indiegogo.
Meredith, pay attention.
Meredith is paying attention. It's Indiegogo. I can't help it. It's one of those things where, instead of saying crowdfund, I automatically say Kickstarter, even though it's Indiegogo. Hey, it's Indiegogo. Make sure that you head over there and put your name on the mailing list so that you get notified when that goes live, because when it goes live and you support it on day one, that
During the launch party,
that's going to be available. You guys, it's going to be so much fun. Hey, Rich is
is.
back. Let's
look.
add him.
There he is.
Oh, don't be sad, Rich. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. You know what? If you're
Yay.
on your cell phone, I have noticed when people are on their cell phones, a lot of times at the 20-minute mark, they need to refresh and come back in. Otherwise, it does really weird things with their audio or video. But so the question that I had before you disappeared was, having worked, and
He disappeared again.
Well, while we're waiting for him to come back, we can talk about the toe of Satan.
Oh my gosh.
This isn't
Live
my first time doing a
beautiful.
live stream. It
No,
is
it's
not my
not.
first time doing a live stream
No, it's not.
with technical difficulties. So the toe of Satan is going to be happening on CromCon 14, May 30th. CromCon actually begins on the 29th. So make sure you head over to Comic Related Madness, the Facebook group, join in, see who else is on the schedule. But we're going to be there at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. That's 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. There will be drool. There will be cussing. There will be raging. We're going to be there because we hit 100 plus YouTube subscribers. Oh, and I'm going to drop this while Rich is back. You adding him? He's back.
Yay.
Hey, you sound good.
Thank
It's
you.
all right. It's all right. It's all right. It is the nature of live streaming.
I know. Well, what I'm going to do is just to make sure that I don't lose any type of like signal anymore. I'm going to make sure Ethernet is connected to this thing because it's just like,
You know what? I'm not even going to ask that question a third time because I think that might have jinxed it.
Well, I remember what you asked, and my style. I have to admit, the first comic that I ever picked up was number X-Men 166. That was way back in 1982 when I was a child, and the artist there was Paul Smith. He was the artist for the X-Men, and my art style just morphed into something that's inspired by his. I mean, if you look at some of my art, it's blatantly clear that I have adapted a style similar to Paul Smith's rendering and storytelling. And I loved Paul Smith's, and I loved the way that he drew because he told a story instead of all these flashy images all over the damn place where it's like the girls are like posing like this or something, or it's like the guys are always like, they have like these, like 1,000 teeth and they're all sharp, even though they're human, which is like, did you file those individually? And it's like, a lot of, I really feel a lot these days that storytelling has been absent from a lot of things that I've seen. I mean, with whatever it is, whether it's indie, whether it's Marvel, whether it's DC or Dark Horse or something, it's like the telling of the story and making sure that you're grabbing the reader's attention is almost a lost art. In favor of anything splashy. I mean, I've seen so much art that like the line weight is like super rendered, super crazy, all over the place, and it doesn't really draw attention to the object or the element in question that you need to pay attention to. And then you have this vastly over-rendered coloring where it's like you don't know where everything is. It's like, where does the black and white art begin and where does the colors end? It doesn't. I mean, to me, to me, again, I'm not trying to disparage anybody personally. It's just that it's an assault on the senses. I mean, that's why I colored my art. That's why I colored my stuff with muted tones, because first off, there's enough color there to begin with, and it blends in with the art style that I have. If I had another colorist on my book, it wouldn't work. I mean, not really, unless I got someone who does the same thing I do, because a lot of people just color too damn flashy. I've tried a few colorists, and they're just all the special effect type stuff and all sorts of coloring. And it's just like, no, you don't need all that flashy stuff to do that. Saga isn't like that.
Let the art
exactly,
and let the story tell
exactly.
the
Daphne
story.
Ledge's art is Daphne Ledge, the art that she's been doing for far longer than I have. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. It captures every single iota. Yeah, thank you. Every single iota of the storytelling tropes that you really need in order to make sure that you have a story there. That's it.
And I'm really glad that you kind of mentioned her, because over the last year, while I've been following her, she's posted a few things about really finding her art style, kind of going from more of an anime into a more kind of a simple line, which anybody should know if you are an artist of any kind. And I mean that as a singer, I mean that as somebody who I kind of doodle. I'm not an artist, right? Or even writing, finding that simple line, keeping it, that is so hard to do.
It is. What it is what happens is that over time you find your groove. Really, you find what's comfortable for yourself, and if you have an established audience already, or if so many people have already seen your art, they're gonna finish it for you. I mean, the rendering style that I had 2 years ago is vastly different from the style that I have now. The way that I tell a story back then is very different from the way I tell a story now, because I'm always learning, and I'm always, every single artist should be like this anyway. You're always learning, you're always evolving. And I mean, you have no choice really. And I'm so far, I'm happy with where I've gone, but I can't wait to see where else I'm going to go, because it's always a continuous study. And, I mean, Daphne, she's been looking for the stuff that she's been wanting to do all her life. And Personally, I think she's been doing it, so it's neither here nor there with me, but it's like it's just a natural progression. I mean, my again, everybody's art style changes. I mean, if you just continuously do the same art style and you think you're supposed to be comfortable with it, then you're really not. I mean, I don't know, maybe you've hit the apex. I don't know, but for me, I have to change. I mean, the Incantessi has allowed me to do a lot of stuff, allowed me to really, really push as far as storytelling is concerned.
Well, now speaking of pushing, because again,
Yes.
when you said that you were in the bullpen and deadlines were tough, sometimes you'd go in expecting 4, you come out with 20 and working all night and stuff. But now the pace that you're going at for Incantessi Chapter 2 is ridiculous, Rich. Do you
This is
find
the part where I
that
get mothered.
Yeah, just
Well,
a
no,
little bit. Just a little bit.
just a
She
tiny
can't help
bit,
herself.
because
She can't help it.
I am all for, hey, I understand mania. I understand like going, and then like collapsing and stuff like that. But I think what I really want to ask is, do you find that you are harder on yourself than maybe you were when you were in the bullpen?
Yeah, because this is me.
Sure,
Well,
baby.
different ways. The first one I was harder on myself because I wanted to stay working there. Marvel Comics, for any type of comic book artist or anything like that, is the apex, and it's like, yeah, I'm here. This is great. But you got to keep up with that to make sure you're in good professional standing one way or the other. And it's the same with this one over here because it's all me. This whole thing is me, and it's like. I don't want to show anything that looks completely and absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, if I didn't think that I could do this, I wouldn't do it. And this is after a long time of doing what I do. I had to get the courage up to do this, and it's not as easy as anybody would think it would be. I mean,
Well,
I love it.
You're kind of going solo, Rich, but for me, I'm so glad that I have Nita, because I consider her my partner in so many things as far as business, but she's also my accountability partner. We kind of go back and forth and we push each other, but at the same time, we'll be like, hey, you need to slow down, right? And so going solo like this and going at the pace, I worry, and this is the mothering coming out, because you have this whole arc that you've got laid out. You've got all of the work that you're doing. You're showing all of these pages and stuff. Rich, what's after that?
More pages and more story to tell. That's all.
She just can't help herself. She just can't help it.
I can't help
What's
it.
after that? I hope to bring it. I hope to get it to a point where I'll be doing this for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, I have 3 issues completely plotted out. I have a 4th one which I still have to write down. I have the next 4 that I have an idea of how they're going to go, but I got to write those down. I have a lot of art to do and a lot of other stuff and other things, which I'm well aware of. But I don't care. This is okay. All right. Personal time. This is why I become. This is the part where both of you are like Barbara Walters and I start crying on cue. So just be ready. As a child, I was diagnosed with ADHD, hyperactivity. That's how far it was back then. I was one of those kids that had at age 4 or 5, had the college reading level and college math level. And, I think I have what's considered a Mensa level IQ. And I was just, I was born in a family of retards. They really were. And, I I had medication in order to slow the hyperactivity down. And when it did, I was doing all sorts. I was like, my father brought home a comic book at age 4, Firestorm, whatever the hell. And I took a piece of paper and I started drawing it, just looking at it and drawing it. I started doing flip books when I was 5. I started coloring within the lines of coloring books and applying shading and light source. When I was 5, I was able to draw the contiguous United States, all the borders of all 48 states, just by memory, and it's like I had all this stuff and I had the medication that would help me do that. I had one of those classic Italian mothers who were jealous of everything, who are bitter women. And my mother made sure that I would not receive the medication anymore. She told the doctors that I was well, that I was okay, and they decided to stop treating me. And back then, they thought hyperactivity would go away, which it never does. So for a long time, I floundered about that. And I only found out that my mother did that with the medication that I had because I found this other medication in my early 40s, and it's the reason why I can do everything today, because I can actually pay attention to everything that I do. And it's, when I started taking that medication, like ADHD is like 1,000 kaleidoscope lights. And when I took the medication, everything coalesced into a white hot ball of concentration. And then I remembered everything that I used to be able to do, and I just did it. And that's why for 7.5 years or 8 years since I became an indie comic book artist, I never missed one day of production ever, unless I decided to take a vacation, which was almost never. And it's like, because I've missed so much time because of the absence of medication and the way that mental health was in the 80s and the 90s and stuff like that. I was without that for quite some time, and I really have to say this. It's like, yeah, I'm of a certain age. I can't say that. I mean, maybe I have 2-3 decades left tops, and I will not waste it. This is a gift that was taken from me, and I have it back. And it may seem presumptuous, it may seem a little bit arrogant, but I can give 2 shits when anybody thinks of what I do. If I can write the damn thing, if I can write a comic and draw it and then color it and then letter it and then put it out there and then promote it and do a damn good story, good. That's what I'm here to do, and I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do work hard. I do bust my ass. I do a lot of work. And there's times when it's like I'm on this desk for 16 hours a day. It's what I want to do. And I'm driven because it's been, so many things have been denied me. It's amazing I'm not a villain.
Well, I'm
really
inspired
crazy
by your story, because there is, for the longest time, and I think we're getting over it. I really do, because a lot of people are recognizing it, but there has been a stigma around mental health.
Well, of course,
of course. For me, I am an Aspie. I have Asperger's. I've had Asperger's all my life. I am not cured. I have just assimilated, but it took me a lifetime to get to that point. Right. Yeah. And so I understand mania. I understand the ADHD. I understand the single-minded focus and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't help when people who don't understand it, kind of hold you back. But not only that, it's like I've told people who, I've had conversations with people, and I've said, hey, find the gift that comes with that, mm-hmm. and run with it.
Absolutely. I was able to see everything.
Mm-hmm.
I see in perspective grids if I stare long enough. It's like I remember things. I have some sort of memory where it's like I can remember settings and everything, but I can't remember words. It's odd. I'm more of an images and symbols thing than any type of like letters or reading or something along those lines. I'd be a terrible actor. I'd have to have the cue cards in my face. But the truth is, it's like, yeah, it's not so much embrace it, but find a way to curtail it and find a way to get around it, because what I hate more than anything in this world and I see it happen all the damn time in real life and in social media, or just in general conversation. Someone like 8 out of 10 people so far, it's like, oh, I have ADHD, or I'm this, or I'm that. I'm like, no, you fucking are not, because I know the symptoms. You are not ADHD. You're full of shit. You're using it as some sort of excuse, and that's how people apologize without apologizing now. Because it's like, oh, I'm like this. Even if I scream at you and stuff, you should understand that I'm this way. So get over it. If you don't like it, don't be my friend. And it's like, well, I don't want to be your fucking friend. So the hell with you.
Yeah, I remember, just kind of parallel to that. I remember when I was younger, and I had glasses when I was in the 3rd grade. I was pretty much the only one in my class that had glasses, and I was teased mercilessly. And as the years progressed and stuff like that, and all of a sudden nerd culture was great. It was cool to be a geek. All of a sudden, everybody who doesn't need glasses have glasses.
Yeah, that's the funniest fucking thing in the world.
Right.
It really, truly is.
I'm like, screw you, people.
I know. It's like the morons who are like, oh, you're nerds, you're stupid, you play with little dolls or comic books or something. And now all of them are like desperate 30-something, 40-something divorced mothers of 5 kids dressing up as fucking cosplay. And it's like, look at me, daddy's little monster. And her, like, it's like, no. You should never wear that in public ever in your life. Don't ever do that, because you're embarrassing any type of, you're removing any type of sexual desire that you have, sweetie. So go, or a guy. Oh God, a big old pot-bellied dude wearing a Flash t-shirt. Really? How fast are you going to go? What are you going to do? Roll down the hill, or is there a hot dog in front of you? I mean, come on, man.
I don't know, Rich. I've been trying to tell
football.
My husband has the dad bod, okay, and I've been trying to get him into a Mr. Incredible cosplay outfit for the longest time. He won't do it for me, damn it. I think that would be sexy, or at least make me laugh. Anyway.
What I've seen with people with ADHD and been able to do 10 things, I want you to finish them all together. You got to learn how to handle it. It's easy for you to say, Mike. It is hard to handle something like that, especially when something like that is taken from you at a certain age and there's no help around there. It's a little bit more than that, Mike. Trust me.
But there are times, for myself, I know that I've had several projects and I'm powering through them. And then when it gets to that point where I feel like I'm losing my grip, all of a sudden it turns into a hot mess. Right. So what you thought,
it does.
Yeah.
That's
so
what ADHD
what you
does.
thought was a strong foundation. And I'm like, I'm building up all of these things, and I've got them all over the place.
And you're half-assing everything.
And then all of a sudden you're half-assing everything, and all of a sudden it's like that drive isn't there anymore. All of a sudden you're getting into your low time, or I call it my dark time. All of a sudden it just feels like everything's collapsing, and then
nothing gets done.
That it feels terrible.
That's the reason why
it
I
feels
push
terrible.
as far as I do on. Forgive me. That's the reason why I push on on certain things. That's why I'm hell bent on taking care of all the pages of the art. Because if I decide to, like, I have like maybe 7 pages left to finish on this issue. If I decide to jump on the coloring, I'm never going to get those other pages done because I'll get stuck on the coloring. And it's like. And I am obsessive about it because it's like I've had that severe lack of ability to concentrate for the longest time. And now I have it again with the help of, medicinal purposes. And I'm not letting it go. I refuse to let it go. And I know something about in this medication that I'm taking. It's maybe I'm being dramatic, and I don't think I am, though. What this medication does to me is that it shortens it decreases the amount of oxygen intake that I can take on a breath because it constricts my airways a little bit. So I had to stop smoking. So right away there, that's done. It also increases my pulse by a good 25%. And it hits my heart. It makes my heart beat ridiculously fast. I already had an SMI, and if you know what that is, it's a silent myocardial infarction. I've already had one of those, and I probably had a couple more as a result of the medication. I'm not trying to sound more fatalist or anything like that, but I honestly don't know how much more I have, because of this medication. But I will take 20 years of being who I am than 40 years of just being what I was.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
I spend every moment. I've spent every moment being who I am,
Mhm.
and who I am among everything else is a comic book artist who tells a damn good story, who does everything that he possibly can, who loves his artwork and loves all the people that create with him and collaborate with him and just have fun and just talk, and people of like mind. Truth to power, because that's the family I got, and I love everybody who's in it. I love everybody who's involved in it, because you're all great.
Mm-hmm.
I forgive me for being so dramatic about it, because I have to admit it takes a lot sometimes. It does. Truth to, I hope I haven't embarrassed myself.
No, not at all. I
I
love.
can totally relate.
Yeah,
totally
I love
relate.
it. Mm-hmm.
And it's and like I said before, it's cloying, and it's disappointing, and it's insulting if anybody all of a sudden just shoots out, "Oh, look how ADHD I am," blah blah blah, and it's just, no, you're not. ADHD is a lot worse than that. It is. It's a terrible thing sometimes.
So when you have those lulls, how do you power through them? What
I just do.
you just do?
Yeah, I do. Well, what I do is I stop for a minute. I stop for a minute. I assess what's in front of me, and I'm like, okay, what needs to be done? What has to be done? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? Okay, the things that I need to do that are more immediate are the ones I will take precedence. That will take precedence if I wind up doing more than one thing at the same time. And sometimes that happens, and I have to catch myself, because if I don't, then I get lost in that miasma again. But I have, with the help of the medication, I have been able to just like stop and listen and look and like, okay, this is what has to be done. So I push everything aside. I do it. I finish that task, and then I just push it. I push that away, and then I jump on another one, and I push that away. And sometimes that's difficult, because when you're on a one-track mind, when you're, especially the way I am now, it's like I concentrate on one thing. It's like I have to stop and I have to do this. So I push it aside for a minute. I pause, I breathe, and then I jump on it, and then I'm usually finished with it whenever the hell I get the chance to do so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, it's hard to breathe sometimes. It is, because it really, it's almost like it constricts my lungs a little bit.
Yeah.
That sucks, because it's like it does that to you.
There have been a few times where I know when my husband and I were first dating and stuff. I mean, he's known me since I was 15. I mean, we've known each other for the majority of our life. But when I'm tired, or when I get to a point where I'm focusing, and all of a sudden I'm asked to divert, I lose the power of speech. It's really weird. And the one time I was trying to, like, I was working, and I was so focused on it, and he came in and he asked a question, and I was talking gibberish. He really thought I was having a stroke. He was like, "Do I need to call the doctor?" And I was just like, and I just put my hand up, and I closed my eyes, and I had to breathe, because I felt that like I wasn't ready. And it's like, the older you get, Rich, you probably know this, you're going in one direction, and all of a sudden you stop because, I don't know, your cat's there or something, and you don't want to step on the damn thing, so you have to turn, and all of a sudden something like pops.
Yeah.
It hurts when you do that. It's kind of like that. Yeah. And so when you have that single-minded focus, and all of a sudden you have to pivot, and it's just like, wait a minute. And I think Nita's seen me do this a few times, where I was just like, stop. And I just sat here and I closed my eyes, and I just breathed. I'm like, just let me breathe for a minute.
Yeah. It's sometimes it's like having to stop yourself is sometimes painful.
Yes.
Because it's like you have to, like, I need to finish this, and I don't want to hear anything from anybody, and it's just like, and it's a thing where it's like, well, once you're able to like really figure everything out, whether it's with or without medication or something, it's the. You give a reaction like that, because it's like, all right, I've already achieved this, but now people are still distracting me, and I really hate that. I really, truly do. And it bothers me sometimes because most people, they say they understand, but they do not. And I'm like, I don't care if you don't understand, just don't tell me that you do. Don't tell me that you do. Don't tell me that you know what you're talking about, like because you read some sort of article or something like that. No, it's a lot more vast than that is, you know. And that thing, I still had full blown ADHD when I was working at Marvel, and I was an inker for the majority of the time. And the one thing that I get is this is like, Jesus, man, if I had this medication when I was working at Marvel, I can only imagine where I was. And that's a killer, because it's like the one thing that I sometimes harp on is the past. And I've just been like pushing myself away from it. And I have to to be honest with you, I have to thank the Incantessi for that, because it's like, now I'm putting all my energy into this. And it's like, and for me, it's a boon, because I've never done this before. You know, I've never.
Is it exciting? Is it
book.
scary? Is it a little bit of both?
Oh, it's definitely scary. It's scary as all hell, because it's like, but it's also life affirming, because it's like, I've never done this before. I've never self-published before, and I'm doing it now. And
you're doing it well.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. But I don't know if I'd be able to do that back then, even if I was treated. So this for me is like, yes, this is the shit. I dig it. I can really jump in here and not feel like that I missed something when I was younger. You know, it's one thing penciling a book for Marvel. I don't even really gauge that as any type of like barometer as how great of an artist one can be anymore. You know, it's trust me when I tell you, being an artist for Marvel is 99% luck, 1% talent. Trust. You know, I happen to be there at the right place in the right time. If it was any other place or any other time, I don't think I'd be able to do it. But when you're faced with something that you've never done before, you can forget about all the other stuff that happened with you, because this is the first time you've done this, and it's never happened to you before. And that's why that's probably part and parcel. Another reason why I'm so dedicated to this thing, because it's like, I love it. I've shown that I can do it, and I've shown that I'm gonna show that it's gonna get better every single issue, no matter what. And it's just it's a thrill. It's a huge thrill. It's really, truly,
I think that is a great question to ask everybody and to oneself is, when is the last time you did something for the first time? You know?
Right. When it comes to being an artist, when it comes to being a creator of anything, yeah, that's the only way, in my opinion, that you can grow a lot. I mean, that there's different patterns of growing, you know, but you have to surprise yourself, and you have to fail at it, and you have to fail at it again until it happens for you. And
well, speak about that a little bit, Rich. Speak about the importance of failure then, and how it's impacted you.
It's the best teacher that I've ever had. The best teacher that I've ever had, because a couple of times when I've failed a couple of times on the big stage with Marvel, and luckily I was given a couple more chances from the editors that were there. And it's like, it really shows you that it's like, okay, you cannot screw up. You dig down, and you got to get to the point where you got to dig down. You got to get to a point where it's just, you really, really have to just, you have to make sure you just simply don't screw up. I mean, I don't know how else I can say it. I think it's just, you don't forget the mistakes that impact your life the most. You don't. It's one thing if you hand in an assignment late for university or whatever, and it's like, oh, can I hand in the paper in a couple of days? Yeah, sure, but you know, your grade is going to be impacted. Well, okay, you know, it's like, it's just a stupid bullshit grade for a useless report, whatever it's going to be, because it'll have no impact. A report like this, no matter what anybody thinks or anybody says, it's not going to really have any huge impact on your life. When you hand in work and you do it wrong, when you hand an artwork that you've killed yourself on for hours and you do it wrong and you're told you really need to fix this by today, and it's like, fuck, I really need to fix this by today. It's a huge impact on you, and it's like, ugh, damn. You know, it's the mistakes you make, depending on the severity of each mistake, are your teachers. Are your teachers. It's going back to what I was saying about a report or something. It's the reason why I didn't go to art school, because I mean, I'm not. Art school to me is like, a lot of art schools are a racket. I mean, unless you really get something out of it, I mean, they're a racket because they sell these dreams to some of these kids who can't draw a straight line with a ruler. You know, I mean, I learned everything myself. I had to learn everything myself because no one was going to teach me. I know there's other artists out there who have a worse story than mine. I'm sure that they're far better than I am. That's for damn sure. There's plenty of artists who are out there who are far better than me, who had to deal with far worse than I do. You know, it's like, you know, and people like that I respect. People like that I truly respect. I respect the hell out of both of you because, you know, we've talked. All of us have talked, you know, and it's like, I mean, most of us do, but, you know, we all have our thing that it's like, we just have to go beyond, and that's it. I mean, at one point, do we just stand there just like let anything happen to us? No, I mean, that's what happened with me.
Yeah. Well,
it's why I'm so insane, and it's the reason why you guys are worried about my health now.
we worry about your health because we really care. But let me go back to something
Please.
you said with the art. Okay, because you didn't go to school for it. You are not formally trained.
I'm not formally educated.
Formally educated.
No, not formally educated.
No pinkies up here, folks.
No pinkies up here except for my teeth.
With
you forgot to make your pinky knee tie, but please raise it up.
Pinkies up. The consistency in your art, okay, cannot be easy, especially when you're doing sequential art. I mean, if you're doing like a print, a cover, it's one page. But when you have to take your character and you have to go sequential art and make her recognizable through your book, that must have been something that was very challenging.
That was fun. It's fun.
Okay, so challenging is fun to you? I mean, talk a little bit about that.
Putting a page together putting a page together in sequential order is the most fun and the most challenging part of sequential art. It's like you're trying to. The most difficult part is not the rendering. It's not all the time you're spending on the drafting board. It's how the damn page is going to look. And you go over it over and over again because it's like you're trying to a comic book is essentially like a storyboard with different size panels. That's really all it is. And the action is far and away, you know, different as far as that's concerned. And it's like what was I going to say? You have to you have to make sure that you're not going to lose the reader's attention when it comes to throwing down sequential art and stuff. It's like there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, for me, I studied film. I didn't study how to draw comics the Marvel way. I studied film. That's what I did. Are you guys there?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Yeah, right. I thought you were frozen for a minute there.
Yeah, you're lagging just a tiny bit, but you know what, Rich? We are at an hour. Well, we just went past the hour.
Okay,
Nita, you're on mute. Hold on a second.
Past the hour, Meredith.
Past the hour. Okay. No, we're
trying to kick him out like that.
I didn't kick him out. Did you kick him out?
I didn't kick him out.
Well, you know what we're going to do is if he gets back in here, I have a little bit. It's not a bump exactly, but we have a card here. If you are into comic books or graphic novels and you need Gemini mailers, make sure that you head over and use coupon code VOLT10. Thank you to Indie Volt for providing that. It is VOLT10. Get 10% discount on your Gemini mailers. Let's see. And he's back. There he is. No worries.
It always happens with this damn thing. With the laptop, it just goes. I'm sorry that we went past. I talked.
No.
It's
our
okay.
It's just one of those things where we could and we have talked for hours, but we want to make sure that that people are tuning in on the replay and not going like a 2-hour freaking like who has time for that? Rich,
I don't
don't
blame
go
you.
anywhere because we are going to we'll talk behind the scenes here. But Incantesi, tell us a little bit about this. We're a month away from launch, aren't we?
Yes, we are. We're a month
All
away
right.
from
Some details, please. Details.
Okay, quick details. We're a month away from the launch of the Kickstarter for Incantesi #2. Our goal is a little bit more bolder than it was before, but I feel we're going to make it. The story is the continuation of Cassandra's learning about her history, and she is not going to like a lot of it at all. There's a little bit more violence. There's a little bit more interaction, and issue 2 serves up as a build-up for issue 3, and issue 3 is going to be really wild. But as far as issue 2 is concerned, I mean, there's going to be a lot of reveals, especially this page over here. This page over here is the first time we get to see Cassandra in her full regalia. Absolutely. And it's probably going to be one of the first pages that I color, so I'll show that to you guys first before I do anything else.
Yay! So excited. Yay!
Yay!
All right, and that is going to be well, here, let me put up our other card here. July 2021 chapter 2 is going to be on Kickstarter. Make sure that you go over there. He's already got the intro page, so you want to sign up to get notified on launch, and make it a really good first day. We've got a month to get you there. And Rich Perrotta, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on my Twitter at Greystoke20. You can follow me on my Facebook page. Just look for Rich Perrotta. Look for the handsome devil who has like black and white photographer, whatever, that would be me. I'm on Instagram at the Incantesi, and I'm on my YouTube channel called The Richness, where if you go to the channel, there you just hit and you see the videos that I have. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and you'll be able to see all the live drawings that I do on an almost daily basis.
Pinkies up, everybody. Pinkies up. Or not. All right, you guys, we're out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Ragin with Rich Perrotta, episode 13. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the share button so everybody can see that we are raging. Hey, Nita, final words.
Throw my dudes.
All right, throw in the dudes.
Raging.